My name is Allison Stipsitz, and today we're going to be talking about lactose intolerance in young adults. Before we dive into this topic in depth, I think it's important for us to discuss the basic mechanisms of how our body digests lactose. So lactose is a disaccharide made of glucose and galactose. As infants, we usually get our lactose from breast milk. The lactose is produced by the mammary glands, and then as we grow older, we get it from other mammals like cows and sheep. So once we have ingested that lactose, eventually makes its way down the small intestine where it meets an enzyme called lactase, which is produced by the endothelial cells in the small intestine lining. And this enzyme breaks the lactose back down into those two sugars, and then it's easily absorbed through the rest of the digestive tract. So what happens when that lactose isn't digested correctly? Well, then that's when we get lactose intolerance. So that's the inability of our body to break down the lactose, and then we get a buildup in our colon. It's extremely popular. It happens in about 65 to 70% of our population. Depending on your genes and also geographic location, it can happen sooner or later in life. The symptoms of lactose intolerance starts from that buildup. It leads to bacterial fermentation in your colon, and then that leads to gas production, so carbon dioxide and methane. And then it also produces other byproducts like liquids and fatty acids, eventually creating the passing gas sensation and diarrhea and other stomach issues. What causes lactose intolerance? There's about 4 different main causes of it. The main one is primary. So once we stop consuming breast milk so much, we don't need as much lactase, so our body stops producing as much. So as we grow older, we just naturally become intolerant to lactose from that lack of production. There's also secondary lactase, which is GI tract damage from Crohn's disease or maybe too much antibiotics, and then that makes it hard for our small intestine to produce that enzyme. There's also developmental lactase deficiency, so this happens in preemie infants. When they first start consuming breast milk, their small intestine isn't as developed as normal infants. They usually grow out of this deficiency with age. Then there's also the rare case of a congenital deficiency that happens in utero, but then usually this also disappears as the baby consumes more breast milk as they get older. Managing lactose intolerance is pretty easy nowadays. There's a lot of options that have lactose-free milk or alternative milks like oat milk or soy milk, but also paying attention to how much lactose you're consuming can help control that passing gas sensation. There's lactose hidden in places like salad dressings or sometimes hot dogs. So just being aware of what you're eating, and then also you can use supplements like Lactaid that gives you that enzyme so it helps you digest lactose. Unfortunately, lactose intolerance is extremely common and not curable, but you can manage it so you can still eat all the ice cream you want. You might just be passing gas a little bit more. And here is my sources.